What's a RECAD? Welcome to the Home Buying Process series with Jana May, and thank you so much for watching. Here is the video we've all been waiting for. What's a RECAD? In this video, we are going to go through the real estate brokerage services disclosure that an agent will ask you to sign when you first meet. This is a very important document and something you should know when working with a real estate agent. Stay with me, y'all. It's important. Before I start, there is some important things you need to know. Are you an agent's client or an agent's customer? Because an agent's duties to a client are different than those duties to a customer. And another important term is fiduciary duty. And y'all have heard me use this word over and over. When an agent acts in an agency capacity for a buyer in a transaction, there are certain legal obligations that agent has to their client. Those obligations are legally mandated, and they must put your best interest above all else. That's fiduciary duty. Think of a lawyer's representation of a client. That lawyer has fiduciary duty to that client. So does a real estate agent who has fiduciary duty to a buyer's client. The disclosure should answer these questions. What are the duties of a real estate agent? Who do they represent? Do they represent the buyer or the seller? Where are their loyalties? Why does a real estate agent want me to sign this document when we first meet? Is it a binding contract? No, it's not a binding contract. It is a disclosure. Simple as that. All it is disclosing the types of representation that you can receive from a real estate agent. And by you signing it, you understand the different types of representation you can have from an agent and choose the type of representation you want from that agent. Each state has their own real estate laws, and you should check with your local realtor on the different types of representation in that state. I am going to try to be as broad as possible so you'll have an idea of what this disclosure is about. But when I have to refer to real estate laws, they will be Alabama real estate laws. And I am referring to an Alabama document. Saying that, Alabama law imposes obligations to the real estate professional. Provide services honestly and in good faith. Exercise reasonable care and skill. Keep confidential information in confidence unless it's required by law to disclose. Duty to a client becomes public information or is authorized to disclose in writing. Present all offers promptly to the seller. Answer your questions completely and accurately. Even if you're working with a real estate agent who is not your agent, that agent can still assist you in providing information about properties, showing properties, assist in making written offers, provide information on financing. See how I swirl side to side to keep your interest. This is important stuff, so stay with me, y'all. So, what's a RECAD? A RECAD is Realtor-speak for a real estate brokerage services disclosure, and it is an acronym for Real Estate Consumer Agency and Disclosure Act. RECAD mandates that a real estate agent provide you with the information of the different types of services you can receive from a real estate agent in a transaction in Alabama. Again, a real estate agent will ask you to sign this disclosure after they go through it when you first meet, or they're supposed to. And you can ask, if they don't give you one, you can ask for one of these little booklets. There are 4 types of representation you can receive from a real estate agent in Alabama, and really only 3 are exercised. So let's start with the first one, which is single agency. A single agent has fiduciary duty to you, and they hold your best interest. A single agent must be loyal and faithful to you, and you are that agent's client. And a single agent only represents one party or one side of a transaction. The second type of representation is a subagent, and this is rarely used. A subagent is when an agent, well, let me use myself as an example. I'm an agent with Exit Magic City, and I represent you, the buyer. I decide to call my buddy at REMAX and said, hey, come on, let's both work with this buyer. So there's 2 brokerages working for the same buyer. I don't know why it's in there. It's 7 years. I've never seen it used, and don't know. I've never used it. Don't know anyone who has. And I don't know why it's in there. Maybe it's so that the document will be a full page. I don't know. The third type of representation you can receive from a real estate agent in Alabama is limited consensual dual agency. And that's when the agent represents both the seller and the buyer and has fiduciary duty to both sides. Limited consensual dual agency also applies when 2 agents in the same brokerage or same office is involved in the same transaction. For an example, an agent in my office represents the seller. I represent you, the buyer. That is also limited consensual dual agency. And in both situations, whether I represent both the buyer and the seller, or I represent just the buyer and another agent in my office represents the seller, all parties must authorize this representation in written format. Clear as mud. When it comes to fiduciary duty, any confidential information a client shares with their agent must be kept in confidence. This applies to limited consensual dual agency. The 4th type of representation is transaction broker. A transaction broker assists, and the key word is assist. They do not have fiduciary duty to you. You are that agent's customer. However, a transaction broker is to keep confidential information in confidence unless disclosure is required by law or duty to a client. An example would be you are purchasing a house and you are using the seller's real estate agent, and that real estate agent is a transaction broker to you. And you tell that agent the maximum amount you would pay for the house. That agent has a duty to inform the seller what you just told them. Another example is you're purchasing a home from a for sale by owner, and your real estate agent represents you. Well, that agent becomes a transaction broker to the for sale by owner seller. And that agent must also go through the real estate brokerage services disclosure with that seller to ensure that they are informed of the position that seller's in. That's why this document's important. But anyway, going back to the scenario. So the for sale by owner tells the agent that they will go down to a certain amount. Well, the agent has an obligation to you, the buyer, to inform you they will go this low. Are you still with me? Stay with me. This is important stuff. When you go through this document with the agent, you need to choose which type of representation you want from a real estate agent. Now, if you're interviewing agents, you don't have to choose, but just be aware of the different types of representation. So when you do choose that agent, you know who's going to have you in their best interest. That makes sense? Yeah. If not, comment below. And just to throw out some more legal stuff, all brokerages must maintain a policy of the types of brokerage services they offer to a client or to a customer at their office. And you may request a copy of this policy at any time. I know you're dying to know more. You are, aren't you? For more information about the real estate agency disclosure, I have a link down below for where you can grab that information and you can see an actual RECAD. You can also download the consumer booklet. So how can you get fiduciary duty? I'm glad you asked. Stay tuned because there is a future video about fiduciary duty. It's something to get excited about. I love fiduciary duty because I love taking care of people. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell so you are notified every Thursday when I upload a new video. I'm Jana May, and I am a realtor with Exit Magic City Realty in Birmingham, Alabama. If you missed the last episode, it's right here. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye, y'all.